They hauled her over the rough ground as if she weighed nothing at all. Gravel tore at her palms, boots scuffed loudly, and sharp elbows dug into her sides while the floodlights overhead buzzed, throwing long, distorted shadows that drained the yard of warmth. The rookie didn't cry out. She didn't plead. According to the roster, her name was Emily Carter. 26, average build, quiet demeanor, no flashy commendations, no aggressive swagger. To them, she looked disposable. Private Logan Reeves snickered as he shoved her forward. Mark Dalton and Ethan Brooks flanked her like predators, their mockery disguised as tradition. Breaking the silent ones was their favorite pastime. Her wrists were tied behind her back. Not enough to cut blood flow, just enough to degrade. She stumbled once but recovered quickly. Her eyes moved across the yard, not in panic, but in assessment. A scent hung in the air, one most people would overlook. Damp fur, rusted iron, rotting meat. Emily didn't miss it. She knew exactly what it meant. The K9 enclosures. Logan leaned close, his breath hot with malice. "You don't belong here, Carter. Time to figure out where you stand." The gate waited ahead. Steel bars scratched by teeth and claws, streaked with dried mud. Something shifted inside. Heavy breathing. Then a deep growl rolled out, low and menacing, like thunder crawling along the ground. Dalton grinned. "Hasn't been fed in 3 days. They say he doesn't hesitate," Ethan added. The words meant to seal her fate. The gate swung open. They shoved her inside and slammed it shut, the clang echoing with finality. The growl deepened. From the shadows stepped a massive K9, corded muscle beneath scarred fur. Eyes locked onto her with lethal focus. Anyone else would have screamed. Anyone else would have frozen. Emily straightened slowly, testing the earth beneath her boots. Her breathing stayed even. She tipped her head slightly, softened her gaze, lowered her stance. Not in surrender, but in recognition. The dog halted, hackles raised, teeth bared. Yet something shifted. The moment didn't unfold the way it was supposed to. Outside the enclosure, laughter erupted. 5 seconds, Logan called. "That's generous." Inside, Emily spoke for the first time. Her voice was calm, controlled, and not in English. Short, deliberate sounds, command patterns layered with reassurance. The dog's ears flicked. Uncertainty rippled through its body. She stepped forward. Then again. Never rushing. Never breaking eye contact. Her tone never sharpened. The K9 lunged, then skidded to a halt, dirt spraying as its nose caught her full scent. Something clicked. The growl died mid-breath. The dog lowered its head. Its tail moved once. Outside, the laughter died. "What the hell?" Mark muttered. Emily sank to one knee despite her bound hands, deliberately exposing her neck. It was a risk measured, intentional. She spoke again, softer now. Her voice carrying a rhythm only one handler had ever used with that animal. The K9 approached slowly, sniffed her cheek, then pressed its massive forehead against her chest, releasing a low whine that held no trace of violence. Silence slammed into the yard. Logan staggered back from the fence. "That's impossible." Emily closed her eyes briefly, resting her forehead against the dog's, steadying herself as memories surged. Months of brutal training, injuries, trust forged through pain and discipline. She opened her eyes and looked straight through the bars at them. "His name is Rex," she said evenly. "And you've made a serious mistake." Rex sat in front of her, positioning himself like a shield, blocking every angle. His eyes burned with warning. No one laughed anymore. They finally understood. This wasn't a defenseless recruit tossed into a cage. This was someone who knew exactly how to survive inside it. Distant alarms began to echo. Emily's voice cut clean through the tension. "Remember this moment," she said calmly. "Nothing is the same after it." The yard never fully regained its noise. Even after the alarms faded and the lights returned to their dull hum, something heavy lingered, an unspoken certainty that a line had been crossed and could never be erased. Emily stayed inside the enclosure, breathing slow and steady. Rex stood guard, muscles taut, eyes tracking every movement beyond the bars. Logan's bravado cracked first. He tried to laugh it off, but the sound rang hollow. "This has to be some trick," he muttered. Mark couldn't meet her eyes. Ethan backed away, palms half raised, as if steel and consequences meant nothing to the dog in front of them. Emily stood, brushing dust from her knees. Her voice was flat, controlled. "Open the gate," she said. "That's not a request." Rex shifted beside her, waiting, trust absolute. The gate didn't open right away. Seconds passed. Glances were exchanged. Reality settled in. Whatever game they thought they controlled had flipped completely. When the gate finally creaked open, Emily stepped out first. Rex stayed glued to her side, no longer aggressive, unmistakably protective. She stopped a few feet from them, studying each face. Fear, guilt, denial laid bare. "You wanted to teach me my place," she said quietly. "Here's the lesson. Never underestimate someone just because they don't advertise their strength." Logan tried to respond, but a low warning growl from Rex cut him off instantly. One subtle hand signal from Emily, and the dog fell silent, eyes never leaving Logan. "Rex was assigned to me long before you knew my name," she continued. "I trained him when no one else could. I handled him when everyone else backed away. And you thought starving him and locking me inside would work out for you." Her words weren't loud, but they hit hard. Footsteps echoed from the far end of the yard. Others arrived, confusion turning into shock as they took in the scene. The infamous K9 sitting calmly beside the so-called rookie, the usual instigators reduced to silence. Emily inhaled slowly, not from fear, but from anger she refused to unleash. "This isn't revenge," she said. "It's accountability." She knelt to check Rex, her hands moving with practiced care, whispering words meant only for him. He licked her fingers once, tail thumping softly against the dirt. When she stood again, her voice carried farther. "What you did tonight could have killed someone. Not me. I knew how to survive that pen. But the next person you test might not." Logan snapped, anger flaring to hide his panic. "You think this makes you special?" Emily didn't blink. "No," she replied. "It makes me responsible." Silence followed, thick, suffocating. No shouting, no fists, just the crushing realization that the balance of power had shifted and wasn't shifting back. Later, as the yard emptied and Rex walked calmly at Emily's side, whispers followed them. The story would change, grow, exaggerate, but the truth would remain. The quiet recruit was never weak, and the dog was never a weapon to be abused. At the exit gate, Emily paused and looked back once. "Remember," she said softly, "real strength doesn't need permission." Rex glanced back too, eyes sharp, daring anyone to forget. If the story resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to Grow for Justice, because stories like this remind us why fairness, respect, and accountability matter. And there are many more powerful stories still to come.